What's up, YouTube fans? Today we're going to take a look at the Newage Air Guardian Firefox. So this is their version of a Legend scale Jetfire. If you don't know, I'm a huge Jetfire fan. It's my favorite character. So I had to get this guy. Normally my Newage figures or any of my Legends figures come from G Tony, but this one I had to have for myself. Really, really cool looking. Let's take a look at the details. Got some nice paint. I was surprised. I actually thought it was unpainted, but there is actual paint on here. The white, even though it looks like it's just unpainted plastic, I believe is actual paint. Kind of hard to tell, but you also have some red accents, of course, here, and on the wings. You got red down here on the legs. Nice translucent blue cockpit. The face is painted with the gray blue eyes, and then the blue up here, silver for the head crest. Back, pretty nice and clean. We'll see this more in jet mode. Got that blue there for the cockpit there. All in all, really, really cool looking. There is some die cast in here, so surprisingly, there's not always a lot of die cast in these Newage figures, but you got die cast right here. You have die cast right here on the boosters, which I was surprised about. And I believe these feet are plastic, so not bad. He does come with a single accessory, which is this blaster right here. Just done in a gray plastic. I don't believe this is painted. It does look very much like Jetfire's or Skyfire's gun from the cartoon. So this will fit into here. And if you don't know, this is done to look like the actual cartoon model, not the original toy. All right, let's go over his articulation. The head is on a rotating swivel, but it goes really far. You get all the way up to there, down to there, rotate side to side. The arms rotate around. Everything is friction joints, by the way. No ratchets here. Arms go up to there. You have this shoulder pad can actually move independently. Rotation at the bicep. There is a piece here for the elbow that will bend inwards, but it does kind of block the articulation. So he gets past 90, but not too far past. You do have a rotating piece here, and that's so that you can have multiple different faction symbols. So you can have Autobot or Decepticon, or I guess neither if you wanted to. So you have that one, and then you have the flat one that I showed you initially. So you can just have it smooth without any faction symbol. You know, it's kind of cool that you can do that. Obviously, I haven't put any stickers on him. He did come with a QC sticker, which I took off. It was right here on the chest. It actually left a little bit of green on it, so I had to kind of wipe it off. But it says QC Pass. So it seems like everybody's using those QC Pass stickers now. Anyway, continuing down, your rotation at the waist goes up to there until it hits the backpack. Take the backpack and disconnect it. Let's see. I believe you can get a little bit more, but not really worth anything. You get an ab crunch here, and it gets you up to there, which rare for Jetfire figures to have ab crunch, so that's nice. Fingers are just on a single pin here, so they all move together, so you can't really point or anything. But most of the Newage figures can't because they're small, the hands are small. Going down, you have a hip skirt here. The legs rotate at the hip, so that's kind of cool. The whole hip moves in. So it goes up to there, back to there. The backpack does hinder it, so if you have the backpack in, it will hit the backpack. And then out to the side, and then that hip skirt will move out of the way. I really like how this works. It's just a very cool, I feel like this is how most characters should be done nowadays. Rotation at the thigh. Double jointed knee gets you the full bend there. Really beautiful. Ankle tilt all the way out to there, forward to there, back to there. Anything you would need out of that ankle. And for size comparison, there it is next to the Newage Optimus Prime. There, you can call him David. Fits in nicely. It's a big Legend scale robot. I really like the size. I'm glad that they made it this big. And for a Skyfire comparison, there it is next to the Fans Toys Phoenix. That's the X version. The Iron Factory Cygnus. And there he is. And he's obviously a lot bigger than the Iron Factory, which is a Legend scale, although it's kind of stylized. And obviously much shorter than the Fans Toys. Now, we're still waiting for the official. We have that coming beginning of next year, 2023. So I'm excited to get that. I actually don't have an official Jetfire in my collection. It's kind of funny. I got rid of the Siege version in anticipation of the Masterpiece version because, you know, I'm a Masterpiece guy. But there you go for comparison. All right, now let's get this guy transformed into his jet mode. I actually transformed it the first time without instructions. I just went at it. And then I went back and looked at the instructions, and there's actually a couple errors in the instructions. So I don't necessarily recommend using it because the steps, the order in which they do things isn't easier than the way I'm going to do it here. So let's start with the arms. So come to here, you can fold the arm straight, fold that little tab thing in, open up the back of the arm, fold the hand in, close that up. Same on this side, straighten up the arm, fold that in, open up the back, fold your hand in and close that up. Now those arms are ready. Then we'll take care of this backpack. So come to here, open this up. And this is where the instructions differ. They recommend taking these open. That's not the right step to do. The next step is to pull back on this because this is tabbed in here and here. It seems like the easiest way is to do that. So you get that unpegged. Now we can take care of all this. So open up this piece here and on the other side. And then you can take this piece here and unpeg it from the side. There's a little tab that's tabbed in there. Same on here, bring this back. Then we're going to open up this nose cone here. There's a little panel here and it's easy to miss. So you might need a spudger or something to get in there, but make sure you open that panel before you flip this around. All right? Then you can open up this, open up the nose cone, get that tabbed in. And this whole thing's going to kind of accordion down. It almost reminds me of the MMC Jaguar, their Ravage, the way it works. But make sure this is pushed down into here, and then you can close that up. It should be nice and flush down here. Open this up, fold that down, tab it in. And there's your nose cone. And then this panel that we opened up on the top is just going to sit flat right there. So that's how you know you have it right. All right, now we'll work on the backpack. This is probably the most challenging part of the whole thing, especially because the instructions don't seem to have the right sequence. But open this up. It's just tabbed in here. And fold these wings down. You can get this piece out. And now we're going to flip this whole thing around. So first fold these panels in. Fold those in. And we're going to pull outwards on these two sliders. That'll give us enough clearance to flip this around and come underneath his arms here. Just get the arms up and out of the way for now. Then these panels are going to sit right down here in front. Right now these arms we can fold downwards. They're just going to sit in this little cavity here. The head's going to rotate around and sit in the back. Now we can take all of this, open up this panel, and tab that in here and in the front. And all of this is going to be hidden by this backpack piece here. Make sure your wings are all the way back, and then you can close this up with the head and the arms inside. So tab this together, give that a nice squeeze. Now we'll take care of the legs. By the way, I didn't mention this, but these die-cast pieces are probably not folded out in the box. So you do need to fold those out. You'll get much more stability if you fold out these heel pieces. And you don't want this plastic piece on there. You want the plastic piece to be inside here. That gives you the most flat, stable surface. So that's something that probably people have struggled with. All right, so close up those heel spurs. Fold your feet to the outside. Flip this panel almost all the way. Then rotate the foot in, down, and tab it in. Do that one more time. Fold this out. Flip this panel around. Don't close it all the way. Fold the foot up, in, tab. And then tab these together. Now this is another step that I think the instructions gets wrong. They say to put this in earlier, but if you do that, you're going to have a hard time getting it tabbed in. So you want to get these die-cast boosters into here first. So get those lined up. You're going to accordion these knees down. They're actually tabbed into the front here. So you're going to accordion this down, get it over the top first, then come to the bottom and peg it in. There's two pegs on the bottom that you're pegging in. That's the easiest way to get that together. I'm not sure why they show it a different way. All right, little finishing touches here. Open up that. Open up the little flap. Same on the other side. Flip these. Now they show it as an angle, I think is the best for Skyfire to represent the original cartoon. And there we have Firefox in his absolutely gorgeous jet mode. It really nails that cartoon, which we'll put up there for you to look at. Really cool. Got some detail here. You got the cockpit with some seats in there. Nice blue paint here, silver paint here on the boosters. Here's the back. I like how the feet ended up folded up like this because it's very smooth, right? It just looks like natural. Got the red here, red on the wings. Oh, that looks great. And you still have the rotating bit here, so if you want to change his faction, you can still do that. I don't have any symbols on there yet. You got nice intakes right here. Really, really cool. Coming to the bottom here, you can open up the landing gear. So those are just on friction. It does kind of fold in if you push on it. They don't really lock in place or anything, but they do work. They're not rolling wheels, they're just plastic molded wheels. But you can't set them down on that. You also have an opening cockpit here. Very cool. And you can take the weapon here, the gun, that will plug in right there, and now he can have that firing. So awesome. I love the way this looks. It's such a sleek looking jet. They really were able to get it together without any gaps or anything kind of sticking out. I really like the transformation. It's very fun. And for some size comparisons, there it is next to the Iron Factory Dark Cygnus and the Newage Optimus Prime trailer and roller. You can see he's pretty darn big compared to the trailer, and definitely bigger than the Iron Factory Cygnus. One thing I'll credit Cygnus with is they had actually working landing gear, but yeah, much bigger. I think it definitely scales better as far as a Jetfire. Now this one's more like the original toy style. They just had their own style here, but there you go for some comparisons. And before we get him back into robot mode, there's your quasi Gerwalk mode. I don't have the arms out because they're inside of here, but you can kind of fake this if you want to do it. I don't have a need for this, but I just wanted to show you you can get it like this. So final thoughts on the Newage Firefox. Let's start with the positives. This thing looks gorgeous. It's really well done in both robot mode and jet mode. They nailed the character so well. They do have actual paint on it, which was a surprise when I got it, right? You got the red paint, the silver paint here. Some of the white is even painted all along the way. Not everything, but there is some white paint. For example, back here, these wings are painted. You got the blue paint here, white paint over here. So there are some paint details and accents, and then some of these white parts here are even painted. So that was a surprise. I really like that. The articulation is pretty top-notch, probably the best Jetfire, Skyfire articulation we've ever gotten, honestly. I have a bunch of Skyfires, and I've never had one that articulated this well. You can see I put in this pose just to demonstrate how nice it is with the articulation. Negatives-wise, there are some joints that, because they're pin joints, they're not perfectly tight. So, for example, these ankles, they could loosen up over time. Mine are okay, but there are some people who have loose. My elbow is a little bit loose. It's not terrible, but it could be a little bit better. And then this backpack back here, it tends to sometimes get unpegged, or these panels up here tend to come out. But those are really minor gripes. This is an absolutely wonderful figure. I really love it. Highly recommend it. Whether you're a Skyfire fan or a Legends collector, this is definitely the one to get. Now, people have said they should just upscale this, make it into a masterpiece. And what you have to understand is Legends are made mostly with pin joints. There's no hardware, there's no ratchets. So that's not really going to work for a masterpiece because it's much larger and you need to support the weight. So in order to upscale this, you'd really need to add a whole bunch of hardware. So this exists and it works at this scale, and I'm happy with it. So that's it for today. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.